Welcome to Hudson Community Living's Volunteer Orientation. We appreciate your willingness to volunteer and support residents here at Hudson Community Living. Your help supports us in supporting joyful living. We'd like to kind of walk through 5 critical elements today in the training. First, we want all volunteers to be aware of Hudson Community Living's mission, values, and community expectations. Then we'd like to share with you what are the roles and responsibilities of our volunteers, what are our communication practices and confidentiality, make you aware of some safety protocols and emergency procedures, as well as our expectations for resident interactions and boundaries. These elements are really important to have consistency and care for all residents while here at the clubhouse or on HCL campus. First, we think it's important for you to be aware of our mission. Our mission statement is to develop safe, supportive, independent living communities for adults with developmental disabilities so that they may live joyfully with lifelong friends. It is a mission that we always keep at heart in any work that we do. How are we being supportive? How are we allowing the residents to be as independent as possible with supports that they choose? Our vision at HCL is to create a vibrant, inclusive community where people of all abilities can live, connect, and thrive. We aspire to be a model of accessibility and innovation, fostering environments that empower individuals to reach their full potential. And through our commitment to inclusivity, respect, and community engagement, we envision a future where everyone is embraced, valued, and given the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to the world around them. Keeping in mind these elements as we work with residents here at HCL and work together to support them is vitally important for the work that we're going to be doing. First, we want you to know who the Hudson Community Living Administrative Team is. We'd like to introduce you to Megan Howie, our Community Director. Her primary responsibilities are to oversee the day-to-day operations of HCL. She manages the staff and the residents' wellness and engagement and safety. There is her contact information. If you ever need help, you can reach out to Megan at the email address listed below. Kimberly Travers is the Assistant Community Director and is overseeing the resident activities, managing volunteers, and ensuring the smooth operation of HCL and meal services. And there is Kim's contact as well. Please feel free to reach out to the administrative team anytime you have questions or have recommendations or suggestions. We welcome your input and support here at Hudson Community Living. One of the things that we want to discuss as you volunteer here is a clear expectation for volunteers, and that we ask all volunteers to uphold the following code of conduct. There are 5 critical areas in this code of conduct: professional conduct, safety and well-being, conflict of interest, ethical use of resources, and commitment to improvement. These guidelines reflect the values and expectations that support the well-being of our residents, staff, and fellow volunteers. So as we look at professional conduct, we just think it's important that we maintain professional interactions. We know that we might know some of these residents personally and have a personal connection, but as we volunteer, we ask that while we're friendly and kind, we keep those professional interactions in the forefront as we're working with residents and fellow staff members and volunteers. A key piece to professional conduct is upholding confidentiality and protect the privacy of the residents, the staff, and the organizational information, including digital images. So we want to be thoughtful about taking pictures, sharing pictures, no social media. These are things that we think are really, really important to protect the confidentiality and privacy of all of our residents. As a volunteer, you're not expected to take any of those images. You are not aware of who has given permission and who has not given permission to have digital images. So it's really important to just kind of not do any of those things when you're serving as a volunteer. Safety and well-being is a priority here at HCL. We really prioritize the physical and emotional safety for all residents, staff, and volunteers. So we'd ask that you report any concerns, including harassment, discrimination, or abuse, to the appropriate authorities promptly. We also ask that you would make Megan Howie aware of any concerns that you have. Safety can also include any issues in the building or equipment. If something is broken, if there's a hazard, please let Megan or Kim know so we can correct the concerns immediately so that there's no impact on the safety and well-being of residents. Another key area in code of conduct is conflict of interest. So really thinking about maintaining personal boundaries with the residents is important. We understand that there may be conflicts of interest, but we want to avoid any situation where personal interest could interfere with your responsibilities as a volunteer, and disclose any potential conflicts to the HCL leadership. We know that there may be conflict of interest, but in fact, as long as we're aware of those and they don't impede the ability to volunteer fairly and equitably, it may not be a concern. One of the things as a 501c3 organization is ethical use of resources. We want to be very cautious and thoughtful of every dollar that we spend here at HCL. We are fortunate for all of the funds in which we receive, and we want to be thoughtful of how we expend those. So we're only using HCL supplies and space respectfully, only for volunteer-related activities, nothing personal. And we're going to really think about the products and the materials that we're using and the cost and how we're being thoughtful in the use of those. So avoiding waste and strive for sustainability in all the activities. So we really want to be thoughtful of all of those elements there. And the final element in the code of conduct is commitment to improvement. We all are learning. There are lots of things that we can continue to do well and to do even better. So being open to learning and training opportunities, we'd love to continue to train volunteers, our staff, and residents as we grow. Share feedback with staff respectfully, and support HCL's mission through positive participation. If there's something we could do differently or better, we're welcome to that feedback, and we do use that feedback to improve services. So thinking about observing what are we doing well and what could we do better, and giving us some suggestions on what that can look like. We are always open to that feedback. Okay, so a little bit more about professional boundaries in your role. We all play a key role in building trust and modeling appropriate behavior. Many of our residents are learning through modeling. So avoid excessive or overly personal relationships with residents and limit personal details like private matters or opinions. We want to really kind of make sure that we're keeping some boundaries here when we are here as a volunteer. Also thinking about no personal contact or information on social media. Thinking about all of the things as a supporter, not a peer. So when in doubt, just ask. We'll work it out together. So some appropriate professional boundaries is treating all residents equitably and offering consistent attention. Supporting residents and making their own decisions. We don't get to decide for them. It's their decision. Maintaining clear communication through HCL approved channels. Really important there as well. So some inappropriate elements would be, expending excessive one-on-one time with a specific resident without a programmatic reason to do so. Sometimes individuals will be assigned one-to-one for support. Other times you'll be assigned to a group. Making decisions for a resident without encouraging their input is something that we don't want to step over that boundary there. We really want to encourage residents to make a decision on their own, and maybe we can help them brainstorm some choices and such. Really important. And also as a volunteer, sharing your personal phone number, email, or social media accounts is something we ask you not to do. Because again, you are a supporter, not a peer. So kind of limiting that personal contact or social media. Also, no gifts, no lending or borrowing things from residents. Those are kind of inappropriate. So kind of maintaining that appropriate physical and emotional boundaries is really important in your role as a volunteer. Confidentiality information is really, really important. So privacy and confidentiality expectations, to understand that we are committed to protecting the privacy and dignity of our residents, families, and staff, and also community members. So as volunteers, do not share confidential information with anyone outside of HCL unless authorized or legally required to do so. And within HCL, share confidential information only with those who need to do it to perform their job, which is the community director or assistant director, so Megan or Kim. Refrain from discussing sensitive matters in public or in shared spaces. If something happens, please take the opportunity to come. We can go into the office or somewhere private and have a conversation to get more information. We want to make sure that we're trying to avoid any kind of sensitive information being shared with someone who's outside of either the resident themselves, or if it's an individual that's involved, or the important family members or guardians with that individual. So a rule of thumb is we should never discuss residence with anyone other than HCL staff. All other matters should be directed to the Center Director, Megan. So really think about those things. We want to protect the resident's personal or medical information. We want to protect the family or guardian contact details and the staff employment records. Those are all important confidential information we do not share outside of HCL or with unauthorized individuals. So, also want to make you aware, at Hudson Community Living, we have some emergency protocols, but you, as a volunteer, only need to follow our lead. So volunteers will not be expected to make decisions independently, but may be asked to assist in calmly supporting residents and maintaining a safe environment until staff arrive or the situation is resolved. So where we are right now is HCL has a comprehensive safety plan that all staff will carry out in an event of emergency. So they may request support as needed. So follow the lead of the resident assistants or the community director or assistant community director, Kim or Megan. So anytime you are here as a volunteer, an HCL staff member will be the lead and you will be providing the supports. So know that Hudson Community Living has worked very, very closely with Hudson Safety Services, including fire, EMS, and police, to have an operations plan if something happens. So we have fire, medical, evacuation plan. We also will be doing drills. There may be times that you are here as a volunteer in which we're going to be practicing some safety protocols. And so again, follow our lead, help us, support us, and reassure residents, ensure that they're safe. One of the things that we want to be really, really clear on, and we'll continue to repeat it over and over again, at Hudson Community Living, we are not care providers. We do not do any kind of medication administration. If someone says, can I have an Advil, a Tylenol, I need my medications, our answer is always no, that's not something we can help with. Let's check with your caregiver or your parents or family members and make a decision on to do that. So just a reminder, please don't share any kind of medications with residents. Also, we need to be careful with foods. Many of our residents have allergies, and so we want to be careful about not bringing in foods in until we are ensured that the residents are safe. Okay. HCL also wants to kind of talk about dress code. It's not a workplace in the traditional space. It is our home to our residents. So we want to really think about how we are dressing and modeling appropriate dress. So in general, we ask volunteers to wear casual, comfortable clothing that's neat, clean, and appropriate for working in a community setting. So depending on what activity you're doing, it's acceptable to include jeans, khakis, dress pants, casual tops, business tops. We ask that you don't wear any shirts that have any kind of like profanity or anything that could be, misunderstood. Keep it pretty simple. So some things we ask you not to wear, and kind of thinking about how we maintain that professional atmosphere, is thinking about the clothes that are offensive or unprofessional language or images or graphics, torn or ripped or excessively worn out clothing, revealing or too tight clothing. Is it showing anything that it shouldn't show? Those are things we just want to respect our residents. We're also modeling how it is to dress appropriately. Those are really important things that maybe we don't discuss a lot, but that we need to consider when it comes to the dress code. We want to really kind of reiterate the use of technology while volunteering. First of all, when you have personal phones, tablets, we ask that you kind of put them away. That this is really FaceTime, not FaceTime in the sense of technology, but face-to-face time with our residents. So we'd ask that any personal devices do not interfere with volunteering responsibilities or residential support. Volunteers are not permitted to take photos or videos of residents. That's something we ask that you not do. And you should never post photos or videos of residents to personal or social media pages. So we kind of think about those things. We also ask that you are not friends or on personal social media platforms with residents unless you've done that prior to coming to HCL as a volunteer. So we really want to kind of keep those pieces separate and really think about technology and how we're respecting the residents' privacy. Really important pieces in our work with our residents here. So that's kind of the key elements in volunteering at Hudson Community Living that we wanted you to be aware of that maybe we haven't discussed before, or something you may not consider when you're thinking about volunteering. So please let us know if you have any additional questions or need clarification. This is how you connect with us. Megan Howie, our community director, that's her email and work cell phone. And Kim Travers, assistant community director, also email and cell phone. You guys can connect with us anytime there. Whenever you have questions or doubt, don't be afraid to reach out and contact either one of us, and we will respond as soon as we can. We thank you so much for making this a vibrant community for our residents and supporting activities and volunteering to help HCL be as strong and effective as we can for the residents in which we serve. We appreciate you, and we thank you, and we look forward to working with you.